showtime, which is to say, in California, it's noon on Friday, so it's time for the Friday Noontime webcast from Mighty Fine Guitars in Lafayette, California. Howdy, folks. Come on in. Boy, have I got a piece to show you today. Step right in. I'm going to check and make sure you're there and I'm in here. Looks like it. Very good. Okay. This is a John Datlen guitar. John Datlen has been bringing me guitars for 10 years now, I guess. They get better and better and better. He's really outdone himself. He started off building, as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, John, he started off building classical guitars, nylon string guitars, and shifted over to steel string. And holy smokes, they were always terrific. This one blows my socks off, makes my toes shoot up in my boot. Here it is. I'll tease you no longer. Guatemalan rosewood back and sides, and a German spruce top. OM dimensions, essentially the same size, dimension-wise, minus the cutaway, as a Martin OM guitar, which is the same size, body size, as a Martin Triple O guitar, which is kind of the second biggest guitar in Martin's line. There is a quadruple O, but it was never that popular. The Triple O with, now get this, you got a pencil. The Triple O has typically narrow fretboard, 1 11/16 up here at the nut, and a short scale, 24.9-inch scale, the effective length of the string from nut to saddle. Makes for easier bending of the strings and a little softer touch onto the left hand. The OM, same body size, but with longer scale length and typically a wider fingerboard at 25.4 inches, which means the advantage for the Triple O is that you can bend the strings around and easier, and it's a little easier onto the left hand for fretting. The advantage of an OM size guitar, long scale guitar, is that when you tune down, the notes are not going to tend to intonate incorrectly the way they do on a lot of guitars, where you drop down to a D, and I'll demonstrate in a second. That's ridiculous. Now cut it out, John. Now I'm a big fan of big bass. I like a big bottom on guitar. And this guitar, but I don't like a big bassy bottomish guitar at the expense of the rest of the sound palette. This one, you hit that low string, you think, oh, holy smokes. Can the rest of the strings keep up with that string? Yeah. Oh, let me check and make sure. Hi there, 7 of you, whoever you are. Come on in. Does it sound okay today? Hi, Bunny. Bunny, you doing your show today? Let us know. Or is it Saturday? You were on Saturdays for a moment or two there. Do let us know. Bunny Barnes has a very entertaining show she does on Fridays or Saturdays, and she'll let us know here what exactly is going to happen. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Roger. Sound is good. Okay, thanks, Bunny. Oh, or was that you're going to do your show? Which day is it and which time? Because I think I've touted both fairly mercilessly. Always an entertaining and informative show. Wow. I'm probably distorting the microphone. Some guitars tend to lean towards a finger-picking sonic palette, again, which is to say very even across the fingerboard. Other guitars, if you're a big strummer, you want a big dreadnought sort of sound, you want lots of bass, which is what the dreadnought is designed for, bass and volume. That's a different size guitar typically. Reverend Gary Davis played on jumbos and dreadnoughts and stuff, a fingerstyle guitar. So, you can play any kind of music, as I say just about every week. You can play any kind of music on any kind of guitar, but it's just what the guitar is maximized for. This guitar kind of does everything. You get big, big dreadnought sound. But you also get that intense articulation and separation and piano-like qualities. That's the image I'm going for. Sort of like a piano where every note really stands out. Are you hearing that? Somebody come and get this guitar. Here's, this is another great thing that John does. John Datlen, D-A-T-L-E-N. John, are you here? I wonder if John is here. Not the moment for me to look for him, but John, say hello if you're here, please. It's an OM cutaway, German spruce top. Back and sides are Guatemalan rosewood. The neck is Honduras mahogany. Macassar ebony bindings. Figured maple purfling. Gaboon ebony, fretboard and bridge. So a couple of different kinds of ebony involved in this guitar. Nice. Manzer wedge. The wedge that was kind of brought to the fore by Linda Manzer, which is to say, be very careful doing this. This part of the guitar is thicker, is wider than that part of the guitar over there. So that does a couple of things. It kind of makes it easier to get your elbow up over the guitar, especially on a biggish guitar like this. It also tips the face up a little bit more towards your ears while you're playing, instead of it being straight out like this with a real wide body. A little narrower, so it faces you a little bit, which is a nice plus. Because the great irony, of course, of playing guitar is that nobody hears the guitar the way you do, and vice versa. You're hearing something very different from what's going out front, because the speaker, as it were, this lower bout in particular, is facing that way. So if you get a little bit more of that without having to kick the guitar way back and put it out on your knee instead of up close on your thigh, that's kind of a plus in my book. 14 frets to the body, 25.4-inch scale length, long scale, so holy smokes. Long scale gives you the option to jump into drop tunings like this without sharping up when you move up the neck. Trying to tune a guitar a guitar cannot be, and without going into a whole long thing, a guitar can't be in tune every place all at once unless you do some pretty radical stuff with the frets. And even then, it's kind of, the physics are against you. We use equal temperament these days, didn't used to. So you've got to make sure the guitar, essentially, is equally out of tune in all keys. That's the challenge. And physics-wise, the challenge is that the low strings are going to sharp up past the intended note much more easily than skinny strings. So you get down here to this low D string, this low E string, which is now a D. Typically, on a short scale guitar with really light strings, when you move up to play anything on this low string, it's going to sharp up past you to the intended note. Not so much with a long scale guitar. That's what would happen on a short scale guitar. And in speaking in really broad categorical terms, Mardens have tended, in the past, especially in the vintage that I grew up in, ending with a preposition, it was kind of Gibsons for blues and rock, because it was easier to push around the strings, and you had a short scale guitar, typically. Not all of them, of course. And Marden guitars, especially dreadnoughts, for folk and alternate tunings, because you had long scale, and you could wail on those things without the strings rattling, and you could tune down to a dadgad or Orkney or Dorkney or any of those low tunings without sharpening up too much on the upper frets or having to tune the string down flatter than you wanted to. Enough of that. 1.75 across the nut here, 1 3/4, only a 1/16 of an inch wider than the narrower guitars at 1 11/16, but your hands really feel it. They really do. String spacing down here is 2.25. Goto 510 tuners, among my favorites. And as a cool plus, because the guitar isn't cool enough. I don't know how to pronounce it. Weisses nut. Weisses nu? I don't know, there are no umlauts involved, even over the consonants, or even over the vowels, right? There are no umlauts, so I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but these Weisses nut, V-I-S-E-S, capital V-I-S-E-S-N-U-T, Weisses nut. Look them up. Fantastic cases. They weigh nothing. They're hugely strong, beautifully designed. And you can kind of custom fit the insides. There's some little strings, there's some little cords that you can pull up here. I'm not sure you're seeing this. There's some little cords you can pull up in the headstock area to absolutely fit the case to your particular guitar. Totally cool. And these things weigh nothing, and the hasps are cool and protected. Great travel, and great for toting around. Not cheap. All of which is to say, this guitar, totally worth every cent. The asking on it is $7,100. Just look at it. You know, some guitars you got to be careful because you get captivated by the sound and you lose control of your face. And if you've got your mouth open, you can dribble a big old spit gob onto your guitar inadvertently. David Lindley, God rest him, did that with a Saz he was waiting for months. Finally came and he was so excited he sat down and played it. It sounds fantastic. And within 10 minutes, boop, and of course on a Saz there's no finish. So that little mark was there to remind him every time he played that Saz, and he used to have to tell the story because there was this mark. Oh, Mr. Dave, what happened there? Well, my face. I lost control of my face playing this guitar in the first 10 minutes, or this Saz in the first 10 minutes. Another great thing about long scale is you can hit those strings hard and you're not going to rattle on the frets. Beautiful setup on this guitar as well. Not just the construction and the all the choices of woods and what goes where and how much of the wood remains and how much goes away. It's how the guitar is set up. And there's a point I'd like to make right there. I'm glad you brought it up. Buying a really fine guitar, the way it's set up should be, I think, like a tertiary consideration. First consideration is, does it fit you physically? Are you going to be comfortable playing this thing for hours, presumably hours at a time? That's the first consideration. The second one is, how does it sound? And / how does it make you feel? Does it give you that hit of X factor that at this level of guitar, and I take no credit for the guitars that walk in here, they just walk in and I say yes or no. And I ended up with some really great stuff in here. It's ridiculous. But the only thing they're good for is making you happy and other people happy. So that's the second consideration. Does it make you happy? If the strings are a little bit too high, that's an easy fix. If the strings are a little bit too low, totally easy fix for another $100 or $2 on top of the thousands you've spent, presumably on a fabulous guitar. That's the necessary second step. So don't be scared away. If the action on a guitar is a little high for you, that's an easy fix. Nowadays, there's so many great repair people. We've got one right next door here. Scott is terrific at La Marinda Music for setups and stuff. He's great. I've trusted him with a couple of great setups here, and he's come through. Should there be any problems with the guitar, God forbid, John lives right here in American Canyon, just a few miles away, and he takes care of the guitars. You know, if there's a little of this or a little of that, or somebody wants an action adjustment, as one just came in, fella had sliced his finger up, and said, you know, I really need to have the action lowered even more. John said, no problem, I can do that. Took the action down at the nut a little bit more, and now, you know, even with the sliced finger, the fellow's going to be able to play his guitar. John is just that hip. I'm thinking piano. I'm going to back up a little bit because I hope I'm not overdriving the mic. So if you come into the shop, just say, I want to play that piano one, and I'll know which one you mean, because this is extremely pianistic. No, that's not a dirty word. I know what you're thinking, and yes, he does give guitar lessons online and in the shop. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, the shop is ostensibly closed. If somebody shows up and I'm not doing anything, I'll give them a tour. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, they're all about lessons. Kind of business hours here on the West Coast from 10 to 6. Yes, I do Zoom, Skype, FaceTime, all those things. They're all great. You know, Skype has become my favorite because the sound is best. We all use Zoom. And Zoom sound has gotten better. There's an option for musicians that shuts off that huge compression that typically happens for spoken word meetings on Zoom. But I still like Skype best because it's peer-to-peer. There's less wire between me and you. So yes, that's the first question. And the others of you were thinking, gee, I wonder when the Quitters are going to play next. Glad you asked, because the Quitters are playing on the 20th of this month in Half Moon Bay at the Oddfellows Hall. Check out our website, quittersduo.com. This will be a duo show, me and Glenn, with some new stuff we're looking forward to. And if you've got any comments or questions, let me check real quick and see if there's anything that needs dealing with right away here. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Mike Williams, Bob Dixon, very good. Very good, Mike. How are you? Hi, Annie. Great. Oh, Jeff, this is a brand new guitar. Jeff Russell. Brand new guitar, hot off the press. It's brand new as last year because we've crossed over, of course. Hi, Matthew. Very good. Side dots? You bet, baby. Pearl side dots at 3, 5, 7, 9, and 12. A double at 12. And even up there on the meedly frets, there's some side dots up there as well. So yeah, it's got everything. Except an owner to love it, to take it home and love it. Other questions? Embryonic? Yeah, a snippet of Embryonic Journey. Yeah, good call there, Todd. Hi there, Dan Lehman. What a pal. Hey, Brother Todd. Good to see you. Frank Troncalli is watching. Hi, Vincy. Excellent. Some old pals here. Hi, Vicky Randall. How are you? I do this every Friday, or nearly every Friday. I kind of missed last week because there were some damn shoppers in here that wanted to play the guitars and maybe buy one. And they did. So I was not able to join you last Friday. What happens with these videos is I'll bounce them over from the Stevie Coyle account on Facebook to the Mighty Fine Guitars account on Facebook, then send that same file up to both YouTube, the Stevie Coyle channel on YouTube, this is all about me, these are the places where you can find me, and to the Instagrams as well. So these videos show up all kinds of places. Do feel free to forward these, to share them with your like-minded pals that might be interested in some really fine, high-end acoustic guitars. I get to be picky in here. 2 of them are gone, I'm so sorry to say. One fella picked himself up the Santa Cruz, the custom Santa Cruz OM that we were showing a week or 2 ago, and the Debray is on its way out. And new stuff is coming in, including this here, John Datlen OM Cutaway in German spruce and Guatemalan rosewood. So let the nerding cease, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. God knows what's going to walk in the door, but I'll feature it here on the Friday Noontime Webcast, TM Circle C. From Mighty Fine Guitars in Lafayette, California. Thanks for tuning in. Comments and questions, stack them up down below, and I'll answer them one by one. Thanks for tuning in, and do feel free to share this video with anybody you think might be interested. Sure do appreciate it. See you down the road. Would you like to play the guitar?